Hey, what's going on, everyone? Christian Carter from Radius, and today we are talking about payment shock, right? And also today we're going to go over a quick technique that is going to help you if you are planning on buying your first home, right? So we're going to talk about payment shock, and then we're going to talk about this really cool tip. So I hope you like today's video. Let's get right into it. All right, so first of all, what is payment shock? Now, when it comes to mortgage underwriting and mortgage financing, this is what we mean by payment shock, right? So payment shock refers to a sudden and significant increase in a person's housing payment. This can catch people off guard as they may not have budgeted or planned for such an increase, right? So essentially, payment shock is your housing payment, whether that's your mortgage payment or your rent payment, going up significantly in a short amount of time, right? So there's three things we want to touch on when it comes to payment shock. There's kind of three different types, right? So the first is an increase in mortgage payment. So payment shock can come in your mortgage payment if you have, let's say, an adjustable rate mortgage, right? And that adjustable rate mortgage is adjusting or going up for the first time. That could increase your monthly mortgage payment significantly. All right, second is an increase in rent payment, right? So we all know that rent payments are pretty much through the roof right now. So if your current landlord has you at, paying $1,500 per month, and he or she just sent you a notice, hey, just so you know, next month's rent is going to be bumping up to $2,000 a month. That would be a payment shock, right? Going from $1,500 a month in rent all the way up to $2,000 a month in rent. And then lastly, the one that we are going to focus on today is when you're moving from a rent payment to a mortgage payment, right? So that mortgage payment might be more than what you're currently paying for every month in rent. So that would be considered payment shock. Again, we are going to talk about this third one, moving from a rent payment to a mortgage payment throughout the rest of the video, all right? All right, so now let's go over a quick technique that I'd like to share with people. Let's say your current rent payment is $1,500 a month, right? That's what you pay every month for rent. And you're looking at buying a home for yourself, and you think to yourself, you know what, I think I can afford a $2,000 per month monthly mortgage payment, right? So currently paying $1,500 in rent, you think that you can afford $2,000 a month in a mortgage payment. So that leaves a difference of $500 per month, right? Now this is important. So what you should start doing, right? If you think you can move into a home with a $2,000 mortgage payment and you're currently paying $1,500, take that difference of $500 and pretend like you are paying that new mortgage payment, right? So every month you cut your check to your landlord for $1,500. The same exact day you take that additional the difference of $500 and you move that into a high yield savings account, right? So what this allows you to do is you start planning and you start budgeting for that new monthly mortgage payment. And this part is very, very important. When you move that $500 a month into that high yield savings account, don't touch it, please. Just stick it in the high yield savings account and don't touch it for now, right? So what are the benefits of doing this? Three benefits that I want to talk about real quick. So number one, it allows you to set a budget, right? So if we go back to this previous example of current rent is $1,500, new mortgage payment is $2,000. If you're making that pretty comfortably, right? And you might consider that, the $2,000 a month, maybe that's a little low. Maybe you can afford $2,200. So instead of putting $500 per month into a high yield savings account, maybe you knock it up to $700 and see how you do. And the exact opposite. If that budget that you set for yourself is too high, that $500 per month extra is just too much, maybe you knock it down to, $1,750 and you only put $250 into that high yield savings account. But what it does is it allows you to start planning and budgeting for that new monthly mortgage payment. All right, number two, it is going to look great to underwriting, right? So if you, let's say in this previous example, you've been sticking $500 a month away for the past 6 months, right? And you now have $3,000 in this high yield savings account. That is going to look phenomenal to underwriting because you've already shown that you can deal with the payment shock of a $2,000 monthly mortgage payment. All right, and then last up here, and this is very important, this increases your reserves, right? Now, when it comes to mortgage underwriting and mortgage financing, reserves are very, very important. And just a quick explanation, reserves are essentially how much liquid cash you have. So how much cash that's easy to access, like in a high yield savings account, after you pay your down payment and your closing costs, right? So reserves are how much money you have left over after you buy the new home. And like we talked about, you're going to take this difference between your rent and your mortgage payment, you're going to stick it in a high yield savings account, and you're not going to touch it. You're not going to use that for closing costs. You're not going to use that for down payment. You are not going to touch it. So when we come to the closing and when you go through the mortgage underwriting process, you have all these additional reserves in a liquid bank account that you're not touching. This looks great for underwriting. And then lastly here, it gives you financial peace of mind, right? So when you buy a home for the first time, there might be unforeseen, costs that you have to incur. I remember when I bought my first house, just buying a lawnmower. We had this massive yard, and I just didn't factor in the fact that, like, oh yeah, now I'm gonna have to buy a lawnmower. Now I'm gonna have to buy rakes, things like that. Maybe there's a water heater issue. At least if you have this cushion of reserves, it is going to give you financial peace of mind when you move into that new home. All right, so I hope this was helpful. And of course, as I always say, if you have more questions, please let me know. I love doing these videos. I love answering mortgage related and real estate questions. And other than that, have a great day, and I'll see you later. See ya.